Hey, hello, howdy, how you doing? We all like survival games, right? Roguelikes too? Roguelike survival games? With zombies? Perfect. Welcome to Terminus Zombie Survivors. It's one of my favorite long-running roguelike games. Oh, last year I even made a video where I set out to complete the most difficult achievement in the game and create a cure for the zombie virus. Well, today, we're doing something different. See, there's a DLC releasing on September 12th, which takes the main ending of the game and fleshes it out into its own separate story arc. By default, reaching Terminus ends your playthrough. Well, now, instead of the game ending, the black screen with scrolling text has been replaced with an entire town to explore, with quests to complete, people to butcher, meat. I thought that was pretty good, and an entirely new ending to unlock. So, in an attempt to really dive back into the game, I set out with the goal of completing a run and escaping the Terminus station alive. With that, let's get to it. For this run, I'm keeping it simple and going with the soldier occupation. Obviously, this class is fully catered to combat. Duh. You start with 3 points in strength and health, with 5 points in combat, leaving 3 extra points to spend however you see fit. In my mind, dexterity isn't super important to the soldier class since it only impacts crafted items. Instead, I opted to put 1 point into observation so I can see further, and 2 points into agility to increase my dodge chance and decrease the amount of action points needed to move. I also get 4 trait points due to my crippling addiction to bush light and camel blues, so I went with the believer, which doubles morale recovery when reading Bibles, making one of the best items in the game just that much better. Upon loading in, you're given the game objective, arrive at Terminus. To do so, we need to find a radio and listen to the broadcast, or find and follow the railroad tracks. Before that though, we need to survive, so to get a move on, I looted the starter home along with another house to the west, walking away with a ton of food, a luxurious tote bag, and a fanny pack, along with 2 knives. Each action costs AP, or action points. So walking to another tile costs points, searching cabinets and shelves costs points, and the only way to recover them is to end your turn. The higher your energy and morale, the more AP you recover per turn. There's also additional items like adrenaline shots or Red Bull cans that will give you more action points per turn at the cost of getting headaches or potentially fainting. The higher your energy and morale though, the more AP you recover every turn. Speaking of turns, they're broken up into 1 hour increments, so every time you end yours, 1 hour passes, decreasing your hydration, hunger, energy, and morale. Since sunset was coming up though, I didn't want to risk getting caught out at night, so instead, I tucked myself into a corner and got cracking on a skill book, completing it that night and unlocking the Strong Spirit skill, which decreases morale loss per turn by 10%. After a good night's rest, I made my way to the northern end of the tile and headed to yet another house before sunrise. So, another note. During the night, it's too dark to see anything, so you can only move 1 or 2 tiles at a time, unless you have a flashlight. But as soon as the sun rises, you can see much further, obviously. Anyway, at a few more houses up the road, I came across a survivor just hanging out in an abandoned clothing store. Naturally, instead of dealing with these zombies outside, I tried to make friends with the survivor. He had a gun this whole time? So with survivors, you can do a bunch of shit. You can talk to them about your local sports teams, you can trade with them, beat them with a hammer, threaten to beat them with a hammer, recruit them, or check them out. Nice. Talking with other survivors increases their trust with you, decreasing the trade penalty, and with enough trust, allowing you to eventually recruit them to the cause. Welcome to the team, Chadwick. Oh my god. This isn't a fraternity rush at ASU, we're trying not to get rabies here. Okay, maybe a little like a fraternity rush at ASU. Once you have a recruit, you can opt to control them manually or have them be AI controlled, but don't panic, you can swap back and forth between the 2 options at any time. After another night of sleeping on the floor, I woke up on day 3 and killed my first zombie. We'll get into combat a bit more later on, but for now, just enjoy the sound effects. Traveling to the next tile up revealed some train tracks, so guess I know what I'm following now. Using a pair of wire cutters I'd looted from a previous house, I cut a hole in the fence and pushed through as Chadwick one-shot the zombie with a big-ass shovel. The tracks lead east, bringing us to a tunnel covered in debris. Thank God for the shovel. And so our journey continued. Thankfully, most of the zombies were stuck on the other side of the fencing, so while they struggled to break through, the dynamic duo of V6 Camaro owners pushed north. That evening, as we approached sunset, I had the pair hop the fencing and clear some debris before heading west in search of a safe place for the night. Only to end up at a fucking park. I guess now is probably a good time to go over combat, so let's get into it. Zombies have 3 targets on their body: legs, arms, and head. They don't have an overall health pool, but instead, specific areas to target. In most cases, it's worth it to just go for the head, since that's the only way to kill a zombie in Terminus. But Predz, what about the other body parts? Great question. Removing a zombie's arms prevents it from attacking you, and removing their legs leaves them as a crawler. We've all played COD Zombies, right? So if headshots are the only way to kill zombies, why go for the arms and legs? And the answer is, it's all about the situation. If you're getting mobbed by 2 or 3 zombies, targeting the arms will prevent you from getting shit-stomped by multiple attackers. As for the legs, I always viewed it as useful when you have a party trying to escape. You can go for the legs to slow down the other zombies while everyone else runs for the hills. On top of those situations, accuracy is increased for limbs while it's reduced for headshots, so it's much easier to hit the arms and legs than it is to headshot a zombie. Not to mention, removing a set of limbs will increase the accuracy to headshots. So if you remove the legs, you have an easier time hitting the head next. Okay, back to the run. Since I couldn't sleep at the park, we pushed north into a restaurant and got to work clearing that out. And by that, I mean we killed 1 zombie and knocked out on the kitchen floor. The following morning, I found and looted a radio, which gave me the coordinates to Terminus. Fuck, that's so far away. For whatever reason, Chadwick is depressed, and naturally the best solution to get over that is by mixing medications and copious amounts of alcohol. Unfortunately, due to Chadwick's bender and Corey spraining his ankle by falling through a window, we made 0 progress. By the time we even made it back to the park, we only had 6 hours before the sunset, which sounds like a lot of time, but when you factor in an entire hour just to get back to the railroad tracks, it's just not worth it to move right now. So instead, I spent the rest of the day looting the park and killing any stragglers in the area before heading back to the restaurant for the night. While Corey slept on the floor, I had Chadwick go through and study a map to path away to Terminus. With Corey fully recovered now, it's time to get back on the road. The railroad. Get it? After stopping at a gas station for more supplies. There were a ton of zombies here, but it was all worth it to walk away with a few days worth of food. Now gas stations obviously have fuel pumps here, but you need to turn on the generator in the back, which can attract zombies. The only problem with that is the generator also requires fuel, and we don't have any. You can siphon it from other vehicles and all that, but you need a hose, and we don't have one of those, so let's just keep it moving. While resting in an office building that night, Chadwick's dumbass, who totally wasn't controlled by me, opened a window, alerting all of the zombies over, and, well, how do I explain this? He turned himself into a pile of junk on the floor. So after picking up poor pitiful Chadwick's remains, I looped around the building and made my way back to the railroad. One thing I've learned with Terminus over my last few playthroughs is that you don't need to fight every zombie you come across. Most times, you can actually just walk around them and keep it moving. That evening, I found a nice little pharmacy to rest in. The only inhabitant was a wild Charlie Sheen hanging out around back, but he was an easy takedown. That morning, after surviving another near-death experience, I made my way back to the train tracks, crafted a bandage, and spammed a bunch of meds to heal up. Now, it's time to sprint through the train tracks again. Okay, only one more tile to hop. Upon arriving at Terminus, I was greeted with no less than a dozen zombies. So I started slowly and methodically working my way through the masses. By that, I mean I killed 2 zombies while the guards on the rooftop gunned down the remaining. To repay them for saving my life, I cut through their only line of defense and sprinted inside, allowing all of the zombies to flood in after me. And just like that, we've completed the run. Or have we? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the never-before-seen DLC, Last Escape. Starting a new game allows you to choose from a preset group of characters, or you're able to pull from any of your previous survivors who have made it to Terminus in past runs. And better yet, they keep all of their levels and survival skills you earn for them throughout the run. Right off the bat, we're strip searched and given dialogue options to give Carlos some shit before Gideon comes strolling on in. He's the leader of the safe camp. Speaking of Terminus, it's considered a safe zone where you can interact with other NPCs. All movement AP costs are reduced by 75% as well. With that, it's time to get started on the quest line, starting with speaking to Station Master Gideon. So this DLC is a massive step up from the normal roguelike nature of the base game. For starters, there's mission panels and trust levels. Now, trust levels did exist in the base game when you came across other survivor houses, but quests and active missions are new additions. Obviously, the goal is to boost trust as much as possible by completing said missions and talking with other survivors. But we'll worry about that in a little bit. For now, it's time to get settled in. Naturally, upon reaching the bunk area, my first order of business was to go through everyone's stuff and take it for myself. With everyone's personal belongings now safely secured in my pockets, I headed back downstairs and met up with Gideon again, who tells me to now go introduce myself to some other survivors. Hey, hello, howdy, how you doing? Yes, this is your heart medication in my pockets, don't question it. Now there are 10 survivors to meet, all ranging from inventory managers, Ben the armory guy, Thomas the storage handler, Juno the radio broadcast host, Isaac the electrician, and Nathan and Isla the doctors. There's a few other characters, but they do basically the same thing as the others. Inventory, armory management, all that fun stuff. While looking for other survivors though, I managed to find a blocked off platform that I'm sure totally won't have any impact on the story whatsoever. That night, I slept on the floor next to the beds because real men don't need comfort. Or something else Andrew Tate inspired, I don't know. But back to Gideon. We're up to 16 trust with Terminus, and apparently that's enough to throw me out on patrol duty. So it's over to Logan to be assigned a route. Ah yes, house. Vicodin supply must be running low here. So patrol duty is more akin to looting runs into the city to find supplies, scout an area, all that fun stuff. And I really like that because it allows you to head back out into the world instead of locking you into one area. The target area is marked on the map, so let's get to it. It does feel like there's an uptick in zombies around Terminus compared to the base game, but honestly it makes sense considering you can just full-on loot dozens of crowbars, machetes, axes, and anything else you might need before heading out. And it's precisely because of this reason that Soldier was the play. I ended up making it to the house by nightfall. The only problem? It's the wrong fucking house. So the mission completes as soon as you reach the location, so you don't actually have to loot the place, at least not yet. That being said, I still did it anyway, because I just ran all the way out here. I'm leaving with something. Instead of trying to sprint back to Terminus that night though, I opted to fall back to the first house and hang out there until sunrise. By the time I had made it back to Terminus, I was bleeding, hungry, thirsty, and nursing another sprained ankle. But you know what? I made it back, and the people of Terminus trust me just a little bit more. Normally, I'd be a bit concerned about my injuries, but thankfully, the doctors here will patch you up for free. Same with Mira, the chef. They'll give you food if you ask, so long as you're inside Terminus and on everyone's good side, they'll take care of you like you're their own. It's only after speaking with Gideon again that I'm able to complete the tutorial, at which point I went, that was only the tutorial? Now that I was left to my own devices though, I spent a few hours walking around the facility looking for other missions, only to land on Ben. He wants us to head into the world and come back with some scrap metal, so I told him I'd get right on it, and then wandered over to Mira, who tasked me with finding some pots and pans. Easy enough, let's get to it. There aren't any restaurants or anything close by, so instead, I opted to hit up a few houses in the west. I figured that would give me the best chance at finding both cooking materials and scrap metal. It also helps that zombies have a chance to drop scrap metal sometimes, so worst case, I can just keep fighting until I collect everything I need. The first house I came across was actually a fortified house, which are essentially trading hubs in the base game. As luck would have it, they had 2 frying pans ready to trade. All it would cost, a few tools and 2 cigarettes. The currency of the future, we love it. They didn't have any scrap metal to trade, but hey, a win's a win. With one quest all but completed, I turned my attention to the second house, clearing it by nightfall and setting up shop in the living room to survive the night. The next morning was more of the same. Another house, more fighting, and light looting. This one did have a car though, so that was neat. Since it was already close to nightfall, and I had the tools to pull it off, I just spent the rest of the day working on fixing the car up. If I can get some more fuel for it, we'll be sitting pretty good. So, just how useful are vehicles in this game? Well, think of them like moving fast travel points. Given you have the fuel, you can skip massive portions of the map and simply drive or fast travel to the location that you want. Driving in my car right after a beer. Like a gas station, for example. Using some of the fuel I'd borrowed from the Terminus base, I powered up the generator and successfully refueled both the car and all of the gas cans I'd brought with. Now, with an abundance of fuel, I set out to the nearest hardware store, hoping to find more scrap metal. And it turns out, probably the best place to go for said material. Well, that and more melee weapons. With the hardware store looted, I returned to the Terminus station and turned in both quests, boosting trust up from 19 to 29. From there, I spoke with Sarah, who put me in charge of confirming inventory with other survivors. This quest was incredibly easy and only required me to find and talk to both Charlotte and Thomas before going back to Sarah and boosting trust by 5 again. Up next, Isaac wants some electronic parts, so the following morning, I hopped back in the car and drove over to the nearest electronics store. I have another quest to gather medical supplies, but I already have a ton of that in the car, so as soon as I get to the electronic scrap, we'll be good. Speaking of electronic scrap, the best way to obtain some is to go to places like electronic stores, and then loot everything, take a screwdriver, and disassemble all of the collected items. But as it turns out, I need painkillers and antibiotics, not ore. So I still need one more set of painkillers, which means it's back to the gas station to refuel, and then onward to another pharmacy for the final dose of painkillers. With both quests turned in, I'm now up to 44 trust with the Terminus survivors, but there's still more work to be done. Thomas wants a chocolate bar, Joe needs disinfectant alcohol, and Carlos sent me out to deal with zombies at the fencing. Oh, and Marcus needs bullets. Well, the entrance was pretty easy to clear, so for the first stop on the road trip, I chose a nearby police station. I figured it's closer than the military base, so ammo should be plentiful. And best case, I can find some disinfectant or a chocolate bar on the shelves. While it wasn't an amazing haul, I did manage to clear the police station and walk away with a handful of bullets, a new hiking bag, and a few pistols. Up next, a nearby gas station to refuel and hopefully find a chocolate bar. Okay, no chocolate, but at least we're fueled up. Heading south, I entered another house only to hear a gunshot and the subsequent destruction of multiple zombies bulldozing into the room. That being said, kind of a best case scenario. Sure, someone had to die, but they were also holding onto a chocolate bar and enough ammo to finish another fetch quest. The only quest I have left now is finding some more disinfectant. And while the fire station didn't yield any tangible results, it did land me a fire truck, so that was pretty dope. Now to swap everything over to it, abandon the car, and head back to Terminus. After another round of turning in quests, I'm up to 75 trust. Nothing has really changed with Gideon yet, but I'm assuming I'll unlock another story path at 100 trust. So until then, it's back to grinding. The biggest issue with the fire truck right now is the fuel consumption. It's nearly 7 times higher than the car, making it great for short distances and hauling tons of items, but terrible when you've got a cross-country road trip to the other side of the map. So, for missions like this, where I'm having to drive 20 kilometers to find someone's house, the car is the better option, mainly because it can make it to that destination in one shot. Speaking of my destination, the house is completely gutted, but I'm supposed to be searching for any clues of where the sibling might have ran off to. Okay, dumbass moment here. We aren't even remotely close to the house. I had to clear all the debris in the south still. Whoops. Oh look! More debris. Well, considering it's a pharmacy, might as well loot the place. Onward to Charlotte's sister's house. Well, it's no use to the sister anymore, right? Ah, shit. I thought these people had to live in tent cities. They can just come into houses now? So inside Charlotte's sister's house, I found a letter hidden in a drawer. If you find this, I'm sorry. I couldn't wait. I thought I'd be stronger. Please don't blame yourself. You always kept things together. I hope you're safe. I really do. Is this just me, or is this someone's 13th reason? With letter in hand, I hit up an electronics store for a few more flashlights and lanterns before ending my day at yet another pharmacy to check off the disinfecting quest. Alright, well we're at 106 trust and nothing has really changed yet, so I'm just gonna continue knocking these out. Mira needs more food for her meals, and Ben needs more crafting recipe books to continue construction and defenses. Nathan needs more sleeping pills for reasons, and Isla needs bandages. First up, a library. Gotta be the best place to find crafting books, right? This landed me 3 of the 5 required books, so I found a second library nearby and hit that one up as well. This time, however, I found a new threat. I don't think I've ever encountered a bandit before, so I'm not sure if it's a new addition with the DLC or in the base game, but I will say, there's no greater feeling than killing the enemy. Except for maybe looting his corpse. This library kinda sucked ass though. I got nothing useful out of it outside of killing a bandit, but thankfully I managed to find a fortified house around nightfall. It took a few hours to clear all of the zombies from around the house, only for them to sell nothing of value. While looting another house the next morning, I was prompted to rescue a survivor and bring them back to the Terminus, which I thought was really cool. After arriving back at the refuge, I turned in 2 quests and followed Isla into a back room to find her treating another survivor. Not sure whatever happened to Kala, but maybe she's one of the survivors locked in the medbay. Anyway, I turned in 2 more quests before calling it on the day, bumping my trust up to 133. The following morning, I accepted more quests from Juno to restore the radio signal that had since gone down. All she needs is a transistor, which can be found at electronics shops scattered throughout the city. See what I mean? Up next, I have to find blankets. Now, I wasn't entirely sure where to find those at, so I figured why not start at a clothing store and work backwards from there. Turns out, blankets at the clothing store are not the play. Noted. What about a church? I feel like blankets could be at churches, right? Well, as it turns out, no. At least not this church. This one only had a crafting magazine. Same with a second church. No blankets, but I did manage to find the final crafting magazine needed for that quest. So instead of continuing the hunt, I just decided to head back to the base and turn in the 2 completed quests, boosting me up to 159 trust. Still nothing for Gideon though, so I grabbed some more quests from Mina and Isla. Deliver the note was as simple as that. Take a note to Mina's house and place it in a drawer or cabinet. Next was unspoken symptoms, which Isla's just medicating Nathan with antidepressants. What more do we need? Alright, more missions. By day 29, I had hit 200 trust within the Terminus safe haven. And that is the lucky number, because as soon as I hit that and talked to Juno, I was prompted to continue the main story quest to rescue Jonas, the train engineer at the Terminus who will help everyone escape. He's currently stranded in a tunnel with the train and information needed to save everyone here. So with that, it's time to go nosedive into a tunnel and do what I do best. Dick jokes and kill zombies. Now obviously, you can't just rip a car into the tunnel, so I had to park on the train tracks like I was reenacting my favorite Twilight Zone episode, and head in on foot. With it being a tunnel and a main quest mission, it was expected that I'd run into dozens of zombies. The debris was just an added measure, but thankfully I have a shovel on me and a few more in the car, so I was fine. That being said, I was still able to reach Jonas relatively easily and bring him back to the Terminus to reunite him with the rest of the crew. With Jonas back within the confines of the safe haven, we can now get started on getting the hell out of here. First things first, we need weapons. The train is locked away on the other side of a platform, in a zone completely overrun with the undead. In order to go to war with them, we'll need sufficient weapons. Ergo, time to talk to Marcus. We're tasked with finding 3 more guns and 20 rounds of ammo while Marcus gets busy training up the rest of the survivors. Now, thankfully, I'd already been stockpiling firearms in the truck over at the gas station, so all I was left with acquiring were about 7 rounds of ammo. And what better place to find said ammo than a military checkpoint? Surely nothing bad could happen there, right? So, after resting at a restaurant... Alright, I'll stop. I slept in a fucking Wendy's and woke up the next morning to find an army of zombies hanging out back. Killing all the zombies left me with exactly 20 bullets, completing the quest and allowing me to return to Marcus. And now, we retake the platform. I'll be leading the charge in, followed by Carlos, Logan, and Marcus. Since I'd already given Marcus all of my ammo, I took advantage of the displacement and looted the armory for any spare bullets to take with me. With 9 rounds of ammo and a dream, I stepped onto the open path, taking me down into the platform. Now, initially, I planned to go in all stealthy and take out a few zombies before the rest of them saw me. Only for Logan and Carlos to come sprinting in, doing their best Danny DeVito impression.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang, bang.
Also, check out that amazing Marcus positioning. Gotta love it. In an attempt to save Marcus, I burned through all 9 of my bullets immediately, and then rushed in for some hand-to-hand combat. You know what? I take it back. These guys got it down. God, I love grenades. You see why the soldier class is my preferred occupation? There's nothing quite like steamrolling through a shit ton of zombies with a pipe and an axe. Just as the fight seemed to be wrapping up though, the unthinkable happened. Marcus was attacked from behind and killed in an instant. As it would turn out though, the fight wasn't over yet, not even close. Actually, I'd wager to say the fight was just getting started. I mean, this platform was huge. Probably because it's a fucking train platform, but still, it's a massive set piece and extends deep to both sides. So very quickly, the strategy became run out, kill a few zombies, then fall back to Carlos and Logan and let them mag dump all of the zombies chasing after me. The battle for the platform raged well into the night, slowing progress greatly as we could only see a few paces in front of us. 24 hours after the first zombie was killed, Corey, Logan, and Carlos were still hard at work retaking the platform. Until finally, after 32 hours of constant fighting, we found ourselves down to the final zombie. And I didn't even get to kill it. Logan's bitch ass stole it and took all the glory. Gideon and Jonas were so thrilled that the platform had been reclaimed that they don't even bring up, let alone notice, that Marcus is missing. Anyway, Jonas tells us that we'll need to replace the diesel train's fuel injection system and the control circuit module. I have no idea what that means because I'm not autistic enough to be a train guy, so I'm just gonna take his word for it. Bringing this info to Ben and Isaac, they tell me to salvage some parts from these spare train wrecks on the tracks. Easy enough. Just as I handed Isaac the final pieces needed, Sarah, the radio broadcaster, comes sprinting over, informing me that a massive horde was at the front gates. We're not out of the woods yet. For our final mission, we're told to buy the group some time to repair and board the train. We need to survive and hold off the hordes for 6 turns. Fun fact, that grenade earned me the one-man apocalypse achievement for killing 10 zombies in a single turn. Alright, why is no one moving their ass? There we go. Okay, like half the group is boarded. Shout out Logan for just fucking tanking 50 hits. I'm actually amazed none of us has died here. Oh hey, there's Kala. Glad she made it. Alright, let's get the hell out of here. And with that, after 35 days of fighting for our lives, we boarded a train and escaped to a new beginning. I know this is a sponsored video, and it's hard to really express a true opinion without it coming off as biased, but if I can be candid for a minute, this was a fucking blast through and through. At its core, the new DLC takes the base game ending and expands it to a full-fledged second playthrough that's arguably double the length of the average vanilla run. I really love that you can continue the playthrough with any of your previous characters that have made it to Terminus. In fact, I'd argue that's the best way to play this, considering all of your character's skills, traits, and everything else transfer. The missions vary from simple fetch quests to character-specific events, such as leaving notes at their old homes or searching for lost family members. If you find other survivors out in the wild, you can rescue them and they'll hang out around the terminus, even boarding the train at the end and further boosting your score. If you're looking for some scale to associate with it, the battle for the platform, that final fight, took over 90 minutes in one shot to record, whereas the final wave defense portion only took about 2 to 3 minutes, but both felt dramatic and impactful to me as a player, in their own unique ways at least. All things considered, the DLC is effectively doubling the length of a standard playthrough. It provides a completely new way of experiencing the game in the form of missions and quests, and I had a ton of fun playing through it. Thank you again to Ingeon and the entire team over at Longplay Studios for sponsoring me for the video. Links to the base game are down in the description, so go show them some love because this game kicks ass. And finally, thank you all for watching. With that, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you all. Go call a loved one, and thanks for stopping by.